Hey everybody, I am Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'd like to show you how you can create this fabulous scene of two peacocks in a pink flowered forest. I'm going to show you every step of the process. I'm going to share all of my techniques. We've got two ways for you to lay this in. If you'll check the description below, there's a link to our website, and there you'll find a reference for you to print out for yourself. You'll find a traceable if you don't feel like doing the grid, and you'll find a really cool new grid that I think is going to make laying in this project by hand a lot easier. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey, guys.
He also likes two peacocks and a pink forest and thinks this is going to be fun painting. And to help me teach you that, he's going to be tracking with cameras.
Yes.
Yes. And he's going to be trying to catch questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to say we never ignore anybody's questions, though sometimes when the stream gets going, it's kind of hard. I do try to read after, and if I can catch some things, I may answer them in the comments. You never know. Be sure to tell me other things you'd like to paint also in the comments, because that's how I decide what we're going to be doing in the future is trying to listen to you guys. I'm kind of ready to jump in.
All right.
All right, let's boom, boom, boom.
So you got some materials over here.
I got some materials over here.
What are we working on?
I'm putting out some colors like you do.
What kind of colors you got there?
Well, right now I have burnt umber, phthalo green, phthalo blue. I'm also going to put out a little bit of Indian yellow. Now, all the colors are listed in the description, and there are exchanges. So if you don't have a particular color, just find another one in the list that might work.
Okay.
Because it's just art. It's not like, rocketry, where if you change things up a little bit, the rocket doesn't make it to its destination. You can change up a color or two and still end up with a really lovely painting at the end. So the pressure levels are low.
Yeah.
Low. No matter how much pressure you might feel you're under to just be the best ever, you don't actually have to do that. All you've got to do today is enjoy the process.
Yeah. I don't think paintings spontaneously disassemble themselves.
No. No. And honestly, if that ever happened, I would run away. That'd be the end of the YouTube channel. We'd be done. All right, so I'm going to take a nice big wide brush. Now, this specific brush is a number 30 Ruby Satin. It's not the one you have to use. It's just the one I'm using today. And I'm just demoing dragging the brush off with water. Sometimes it's hard to remember these steps. How much water goes on the brush can be really, really impactful to your result. But this part's super easy because guess what? We're going to paint the whole canvas brown.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, but why? Why would we paint the whole canvas brown?
Is that just a base coat?
It's just our base coat. It's the beginning of our journey. This particular part of the painting doesn't need to be neat. It doesn't need to be tidy. You just want it to cover the surface.
Yeah.
All it's got to do. And it's going to make sure that all the layers above it I'm dipping just the toe in, are just lovely. That's what you want to do, is just make sure all the layers above it look rich and finished and complete. And having a nice Bessie Brown background makes that easier. Plus, it really is going to help us grid in a few of our objects when we need to.
Yeah. Now, I was watching you when you were doing some of the design stuff on this. These are really interesting little birds, aren't they?
Oh, I like them. I like them so much. This bird is like really a cheeky bird because everything about this bird does not hide from predators.
Right.
This bird is all bluff, right? Literally, its whole defense mechanism is to bluff its predator.
Yep.
Right? Because it's got no really decent claw. It's got no real way to defend itself. It just makes a big, beautiful tail and hopes to scare a tiger away.
Yeah, seriously, this is the D&D character that put all its stats in charisma and then just had natural bluff of 100.
100 and always rolls a 20.
And it's just like, you see my tail?
Also, I wonder sometimes why there aren't tiger defense outfits that just peacock up. Because clearly that works really well for like billions of years. Peacocking up sends large predators away. We should all just have a peacock outfit that we just pull the thing and it goes behind us. I'm sorry. It's going to be that kind of an art class today, folks. Let's dry our brown canvas.
So, well, thank you guys. Yeah, and when you're drying your surface there, make sure you use it on the lowest heat settings because heat can cause color shift and things like that. And it's you just want to use low heat because it also softens the paint. Because paint is acrylic, and you don't want soft paint, so don't use heat. Use lowest heat setting, and that's really all you need to know about that she's doing right now, is making sure she's on that low heat setting. So, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. There you are.
Brown canvas. I'm sorry, I'm never going to get over this Peacock Bluff thing now. It's going to be all week. All week. All right. So once you have that dark canvas, there's a couple things that you could do. You could get your tracing printed out. You can get it resized on programs like Rasterbator. I'm sure several people here will spell that correctly for you because it sounds crazy. You can use projection, or you can do what we're about to do, which is grid it up. Now, on the webpage, of course, for free, provided for you, is this handy dandy grid reference.
Grid.
This is sized to an 11 by 14 surface. It is pieced at 2 inches apart, right? So these are 2 inches coming from the left to the right, and 2 inches coming from the top down, which is going to leave a 1 inch segment down here. And then here, and this is really cool. My mom had done this on a collab we did, and I thought it was super helpful, is going to be a more detailed little grid, but just where we need that extra information.
Oh.
So I'm going to put this mostly close by so I can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to use tools to make this easier for me. One of the tools that I'm going to use is a tool called a T-square. This is a plastic version of it. You really shouldn't spend more than a few dollars for this. And I'm going to measure out using charcoal white pencils. You could use watercolor pencils or just kids' chalkboard chalk. Every 2 inches, I'm going to make a little mark.
This is different because you normally do 1 inch marks, don't you?
Yes, I am changing it up. I think that's perfect. So then I'm going to just come across here. These are every 2 inches, right?
Mm-hmm. There are some.
Just less marks to deal with. But sometimes in an image, you don't need that many marks.
Right.
To get all of the lines and information in. If you don't have a lot of complex shapes in an image, you wouldn't need as many. And this is, I like this drilled in space where you focus on a couple of the squares where all the detail is and not get so busy all around everywhere else. Because I'm already painting the thing. I don't need to make it harder for myself for some random weird reason.
Oh.
That
sounds like so much fun, though.
Okay. So wherever I start from is going to be the top, because remember, we're going to have a 1 inch thing there.
Okay.
So I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now we know that's going to be the bottom of the surface. Now I have to do this like in this really weird way. I'll have to do it from the top and then flip it over and go the other way because my T-square is not 14 inches long. You can purchase them that long in all kinds of locations. I highly recommend fine art stores if you want the really good ones because they got the super T-square.
Okay. So you just went up an inch and then did 2 inch squares?
Yep.
Okay. That's how you managed to not have this divide by 2.
Well, okay. So 2 from the left to the right. On this particular one, it's going to have a 1 inch leftover.
Right.
Does that not make sense?
It does. There were just some other math people in the room that went, but wait. That doesn't divide by 2.
No, it doesn't. You have a remainder.
Yes. Okay.
As an artist, I don't really care about remainders. It's the part of the canvas I'm not worried about today.
Just wanted to make
Art
sure.
Math. This is the remainder, yo. Y'all are so funny.
In engineering terms, those are the parts that were left over on the floor. Hope we don't need them.
I hope we don't need that. That's just some legs and some steps. Don't worry about that. But it is important to note that it goes at the bottom.
Okay.
Now, at the 4th square, right? So as you come through, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll show you what I mean. on the reference. See how you go over 1, 2, 3, 4? At the 4th square, at the 7-inch mark, you're going to make another little line. And at the 5th square, at the 9-inch mark, you're going to make another little line. And you're going to come down the 3, so it goes 1, 2, 3. I know I'm being weird about just describing every little part of this, but trust me, it's helpful. So I don't need to make the whole line everywhere, right? I just need to make it in the 3rd square. And I just need to come over here and make it into the 3rd square.
I love Sherpa math.
What do you mean? If Sherpa math works,
it
never
does.
doubt it.
You're working it out for sure.
All right, and then I'm going to make 2 little diagonal lines. I thought this was, while fussy, this is a great way to get this done, because where do you need the most information about relationships? Is right there where their little faces are, right? That's the part you're very concerned about getting correct. They're fat little bodies. Hey, that could go either way. We don't really care. It's all good. Just make them round and fluffy. Fluffy peacocks. But that's where our focus is. So see how that works very nicely?
I do.
Okay, so how do you make this mishmash, this madhouse actually work for you if you're trying to learn how to freehand stuff into your canvas? And trust me, tracing is not cheating. This is just another way. And there's been a lot of interest in how to do it. And that's all we're doing. You can just go ahead and sip your tea and trace it on and wait for us.
Again?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when gridding, what you want to do is you find a place to start, right? And you just address that square. So 3 down, their little body just comes across here, right? That's his little bob bum. Now, all I've got to do then is find the exit for where the little tail is. And I just have to draw that line.
Now, you have that grid at home. You can just download it and you'll have it for your own reference.
Yes, you would. I have made it for you. If you trust my maths, which clearly some of you don't, but I love you anyways. There is a reason why I don't have a math channel or spelling channel. And I'm not mad.
You emotionally punctuate and
Yeah,
capitalize.
I do.
That's how we know it's you.
That's how we know it's me. All right. So when I get to here, I've got some neck I can address, and it's about this far over inside the square. So you just look at the relationship. You just have to be able to judge how much distance is from this line to here and make a similar line. And then how far up the line does the neck exit out? Well, just a little bit above the halfway point, right? Now this line comes down about mid into that square. Look at us doing these compound, complex, awesome shapes. The neck here, look at this. Now this comes into play because you see exactly what relationship you have right here to all of that. And then we're going to come right across. And that this tremendously interesting little beak part is going to come down right here. So this is going to be the most peacock looking peacock you've ever pulled off.
Because you have this awesome referencing method.
Now you can kind of see how this gives you even less you have to contend with. So you only have to get from this part of the triangle to this part of the triangle. You only have to get from this part of the triangle to that part of the triangle. You can do that.
Do not forget the floofiness on the head.
Well, that we just paint later. It's in the traceable. But honestly, at this stage, it might be more information than we need.
That is a strategic tiger distractor.
What we need to get in is the outline contour of their body shapes. We need to get in the major tree structures, and that's it. I give you more information on your traceables just in case you want to reuse them throughout the painting process. So you use them for the outer lines, and then you come back and you use them for some more details if you lose some of what you need. That's why I use it. And the people who are very, very successful with them use them in that way. I'm going to come down here, and this actually is this beautiful, look at that nice little gesture on the neck.
If you're new to traceables, we have a video on how to use them.
It's in, I've started putting it in every single web page. Every single web page, it's at the bottom.
Okay, cool.
just in case you ever need it. Now, the old ones, it's not there. It's not there yet. This is new behaviors I'm exhibiting. These are new behaviors. I'm just, again, using this so I know where my legs go. A weird little... Don't these legs, like, compared to the rest of the bird, almost feel a little let downy?
I think those legs are the purpose-built, like, those are running legs. And
It
that's one
is,
thing on
because
the
what
bird.
if bluff doesn't work?
That's right. You got to have a
Then
fallback
book is
plan.
important. I gotta book it.
That's right. Those legs serve purpose, and that's running.
That's right. So if the tail coming up does not deter our predator, then running is a good idea.
Book it.
Book it. You guys remember that from being a kid? Book it. What'd you do? I booked it home. So right here, you can really get a sense of how the eye relates to everything. So you're not having to really struggle so much trying to find its positioning on the head. How nice is that? You have an easier time kind of seeing where the beak is going. And that can be really, really hard, right?
Yep.
When you're trying to figure it out. But now you're like, oh man, I know where everything goes.
It's just easy.
It is. And then you're going to realize when you do these that these birds have a stink face. You're like, what? You need to be this colorful because you got kind of a resting stink face. Okay. Not trying to shade or shame the bird. His little neck comes right down here. Right here, coming through here. So see, we've got that nice little business. That business. Get the crackle. All the moms just cracked up. Because the crackle will put it all together. Seriously, how is that dad allowed to get away with all that nonsense that whole time? And then even looking at this, I'm like, oh, I need to move that. Because the top of his head is right here. I have to come down. Look at that. I was able to correct a positioning. And that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to correct any of your positioning that might be off. On your bird.
You have resting peacock face.
You have resting peacock face. Try that one out at work on your coworker, see if you get away with it.
Uh-huh.
Let us know how that goes. I would, Bart, but you'll have resting peacock face.
They won't quite know what to take of that. Like, is that an insult or is that a compliment? I don't know. This is too new in social media. I can't keep up.
Let me keep you up on the newest insults so that you can insult people and no one knows it. No, don't do that. Don't insult anyone. Doesn't help the world right now, and the world doesn't need any more tinder on the fire.
No.
People are already maxed out. There we go.
It says, don't forget the bluff fluff.
Don't forget the bluff fluff. Now, here's some bluff fluff. He's bluffy. He's bluffy.
The floof at the end of the little head.
I'm not going to forget it. It doesn't go yet.
I'm excited about it. It's like, I think whatever nature said, I need those.
Right? And you have to realize, like, in evolution, at one point, there was a mutation, right? Like X-Men. There was, like, one really shiny feather.
And this worked for scaring away tigers. And so the bird evolved with a whole bunch of them. And that's just awesome. Bluff worked in evolution.
It's like all the birds good at bluff are still alive. And it just got worse and worse. And then the girls were like, I like those peacocks better. All right, so we got to blame peacock girls as well. Now, we're going to come here and start to put in our little trunks because we know we need that information. And you can really sort of enjoy this as a way to get, your trunks laid in maybe a little more aspect relationship to what your canvas actually is. Don't let this become like a trap, though, where you feel like you got to be perfect. That is not the goal of this gridding. So we've got his little butt and his little thing there. So this one comes up here.
There's a lot of little brushes painting along with that. They love peacocks. I love peacocks. I think they're so cool.
They are kind of awesome, right?
As we have discussed, they have...
There's so many reasons they're very cool.
Now, you want to love them from afar because mostly, again, they have the most awesome bird call.
They do.
I mean...
Not when you live next door to it.
No.
Bless all of you that have peacocks that you keep.
But again, bluff call. Works pretty good.
Just kind of dividing out, like, where are my fancy feathers? Oh, they're here. Where are my winged feathers? Oh, they're here. Just making sure I know where some stuff is. Look at that. We have free-handed it in. Yes, it doesn't make the lesson like psycho fast, but it is highly effective.
You know, I'm genuinely concerned that someday I'm going to be living with you and you're going to be like, no, peacocks are a good idea. I think we're going to have some.
No, we're never going to have that.
Good.
Help, birds that scream, help, help. Not my favorite. All right, I'm going to put out some tint white. Sometimes it is called zinc white. Actually, most often it's called zinc white, and sometimes it's called mixing white. It's in the exchanges. It's basically a very transparent white that doesn't have a high opacity, and it allows you to lighten a color without intrinsically changing the hue. All right, so there we go. But over changing the value. I've got my green, my blue, my Indian yellow, my titanium white, my mixing white, which you could use zinc white, and my burnt umber. So that's where we're at right now in the distance for this first bit. Let's get, you know what I think would work great? If you have one of my cat's tongues, this would be a good time for that. If you don't have one of my cat's tongues, you could use a filbert.
A filbert.
Or even a round. You could use a nice big round. You could use a nice big chunky round like this, because we're going to be making little daggery leaf shapes. So that would work just fine. Or you could just paint on the corner of your braid. All that would work just fine. What we're going to basically be doing,
Where you start?
I'm going to start maybe like up here. And I'm going to take a little of my phthalo blue and mix it into my burnt umber, making a dark color. And I'm going to begin to fill in this background space with these like distant little strokes that talk about maybe leaves and things. I'm going to dip in the water, get some more. Sometimes it can be like more blue. Sometimes it can be more brown, right? If you want to create some variance where it's a little lighter, some different stuff shows up, say, but you don't want to change the basic nature, that's what the tint white's for. But we're going to really create an out of focus background. That's important that this background be out of focus. See how I've lightened it just a shade with my tint white? And I'm just pulling strokes and I'm allowing their leaf shapes to happen. And I'm also making them random. So come across on some, right? Because you've got plants in the background. They'd be messy. Maybe this one is a little more brown. This part of the piece is the darker area. Then there's another little dark area here. We get some pops of blue and then there's some pops of green. But it will be important that our background feels a little out of focus. Look at that. I love this brush. I really do. Because you can kind of see I'm implying these distant leaves. So fun. Back into my blue and brown. Makes a nice kind of gray. I'll come around my peacock shapes on the tip. The thing is like on my cat's tongue, you can paint just the tip and it gives you a lot of control because there's 5 sides that you can paint. But, you know, whatever brush you're using, just make sure it gives you control around your edges. It doesn't have to be a particular brush or another brush. Lots of ways to get things done. You could probably get away with doing one brush the whole painting, as we learned in Acrylic April. We often would use just one brush the whole painting, wouldn't we? Gonna be a long wait till next April. Whatever will we do?
I don't know.
So you can see there's a lot of blue kind of, but it's just muted with the brown back there, and we get the slight, we get right into that little mixing white a few places and apply those leaf shapes, but so lightly that they just are diminished into the background. I'm going to come down the birds a bit.
Now, you're leaving a lot of the background, I mean, this brown showing through.
I don't really see a lot, but it will glow through.
Well, no, what I mean is like you're very carefully painting the background in around these sort of foreground objects.
Yes.
How come you didn't just roughly paint in that background as a back?
Because we wouldn't have really understood where it was supposed to be in relationship to the birds.
Gotcha. And
this lets us really know, I've got blue peaks of light, I've got some other peaks of light, this is the forest, and it will help us make our forest feel a little more authentic. Now, I'm going to come down with a little brown and green as I come down, so you can see I'm getting right into the brown and green here towards the forest floor. It's a subtle difference, but worthwhile. Since my birds are down here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on the side so I have an easier time painting through.
Isn't it more difficult for colors like yellow and lighter colors to cover dark colors as well?
Yes, it is more difficult.
So that's another reason to leave those areas as light as possible, huh?
Well, it depends on what you're painting with, right? Because I don't have to worry about that as much, but I paint with professional paints. But if one was painting with student paints, I'm going to keep coming around here. This whole area is quite dark. Dark enough, I feel like I'm going to get my Prussian blue called into this.
Yeah.
Right, so let's put out some Prussian blue. If you don't have Prussian blue, you could just use Phthalo blue throughout. I do give exchanges, but you could just use Phthalo blue throughout. It's just, you can see it's a much darker, richer blue. It's a color I like to have in my paint box, and so I do. I probably will not be using a lot of direct black. Probably will not. Just because I want your canvases and my canvases to have a deep, rich aspect to them. Coming up through here, so you can see it's quite dark still. Now, just keep working, and maybe I get the blue and the brown again. Because these are just peaks, we'll paint it in. And you can see the brown underneath helps this feel richer and darker. I'm going to get some of my little zinc here. And I might even, I guess, mixing white. I got to remember this brand calls it mixing white. And I'm going to add some of these leaves where I have mixed a little green into it. Did you see me mix the green? I haven't rinsed my brush, though. There we go. I'm just applying distant, little out of focus, soft focus leaves. Now, while everything is having a bit of a rest, you can always come in and say, oh, wait, let me get a little of my blue and just a touch of my brown. This is just a touch of brown because you want it to stay really, really blue. And you can get some of your titanium white into that mix when you're ready. There we go. So it's just brown. Very light color that you need here. I may even need to rinse my brush out so it's not loaded with pigment. Get just a small amount of pigment over to my white. That light. Isn't that light? Let's come here and make a little mark. Add a little mark. There we go. Here's some light peeking through, as sometimes you will have. This is technically negative space painting. So we're painting where the object is, and I'm not painting where the branches are. I'm painting where the branches are not. And we're just making sure that there's a little bit of space where, you know, that's going on. And not where the branches are, but where the branches are not and the sky is peeking through. A little shape I'm making there. I'll make another little one here. Make some light marks. That's all you've got to get in there. And that's just the beginning of that. If you need to soften any of it, you can rinse out your brush on the cat's tongues and just come on the edge. See what I'm doing? And soften those edges. Make them more out of focus. There we go. Now here I'm going to pop in, I'm going to start putting in maybe a little more green. I needed some dark up here though, so let's get that dark out of the way. Oof. Hot day today. Yeah. Ready for the AC on the big house to kick on.
Let's see. I may be able to help with that.
Well, don't do your AC because it cuts your sound out.
No, I can aim it a different way.
Okay. So, why do I have the phthalo green and the Indian yellow? Because it creates a nice green gold, which is much more natural than sometimes you might get from cadmium. I'm going to load up a little of my Indian yellow into my brush, and you can kind of already see that this does give you a bright color, but it is that green gold aspect. And oh, thank you, babe. I might even get some zinc white into it, the tint white. Habits die hard, don't they? Brush, brush, brush. I'm all loaded up. Look at me, all loaded up. You'll notice as we go around and put these little spots of green and things in that in this first run it's transparent and therefore doesn't feel as in focus, does it? Little leaf shapes here and there. Let's put some leaf shapes here too, even though it's much darker over here. I think it'll look better.
All right.
Remember, references are that. They're not things that you have to be completely and utterly beholden to. You can look at something and go, yeah, I really want to change that up.
You know, this is not objective realism.
It is not. I'm going to get a little of my brown into that mix. And I'm going to begin to make these upward little strokes that we have here. It implies this part of the background. Maybe get a little more green in. I want all the lines to be soft so that they stay and feel very out of focus. If I need to, I get right into my Prussian and come and blend those in. Now we're done. Blue and brown again. Making some like stick shapes. Loading my brush. Prussian blue, burnt sienna. Loading the brush. Making stick shapes. Coming up and down in long, strong strokes. I said stick shapes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just worried. I've been tired lately. Okay.
You're okay. I don't know what you're worried about there.
Oh,
My mic
you
was
don't
off.
want to know. You don't want to know.
Yeah, everything's all right.
So I'm going to get my very light sky color. I'll dip my toe of my brush in some water. And I'll go ahead and peek a little bit of that sky through here. It's loose. It's chill.
Mm.
You can always come back and blend in. You can see how we, while everything is still wet, create this sort of out of focus background space. So let's look at that. Isn't that all out of focus in Painterly?
Yeah.
That's what we want. So I'm going to get some of my magenta out.
Magenta.
And I think in this particular case, I'm going to get some. This one is called Quinacridone Crimson, but what it really is my Alizarin. So I'm not using any Cad Reds or yellow. These are going to be my 2 reds.
Okay.
And they're kind of deep, and they're sort of cool, and they do some cool stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little of my Prussian blue, and I'm going to work it into this crimson. I'm going to give it a little of my tint, so it just shows a bit. But we do want it to be very distant and not forward-facing in the painting. Out of focus flowers. There.
Gotcha.
These are in the distance. You can see how I'm doing the brush strokes. The crimson, a little Prussian, and my mixing white to lighten it, but not very much. Keeps it all very transparent. And you can see my brush strokes are about these contour shapes of the flowers, not trying to make flowers. One of the things that you can do to help yourself a lot as an artist is try not to think of the name of the object if you can avoid it. Actually, that was one of the things that I had to overcome when teaching, is because I had to talk out loud and I had to accurately describe things. I couldn't say wiggly, morphy, blobby shape. Doesn't help anybody. But in my head, I say wiggly, morphy, blobby shape. And the reason I say wiggly, morphy, blobby shape, there's a reason, is because there are times that my brain wants to tell me what to do. Very much. Get a little more alizarin on here. And it will say flower, and the minute it says flower, it has this weird symbolic version of a flower that it thinks that it's got going on. Right?
I always draw the side view of a tulip.
Right. It's just, and you don't want your body to do that. You want to be looking at just the distant shapes. The wiggly, morphy, blobby shape. First, especially if you're trying to say it's out of focus, because things that are in focus have clear edges and are easy to see with your eye. So if you're trying to create the illusion of something being hidden, you've got to really soften it up. Right? Soften it up. You can do this. Even if right now you're like, man, this is hard. I'm going to turn this a little bit to the side so I can work it better. Know this. This is doable. This is not beyond you. You've probably done 20 things this year that were actually, in real life terms, much harder. Sometimes the paintings will feel hard, but you're probably way braver than you know.
Yeah.
Now there's a little bit of wiggly, morphy, out of focus shapes here, and then we've kind of got this little bunch of branches that are also going on, right? That we've got to contend with. And so where I've made those little marks, I know I've got to run some little flowers through. Every once in a while, you'll see me rinse out my brush. I'm dipping my toe in. And start again. And that's because your acrylic paint doesn't just dry on your canvas. It dries on your brush.
Now, when you said you're dipping your toe in, you didn't mean that metaphorically, did you?
No. Heel, belly, toe. If you're not familiar with all those little fun brush terms, you can go on our website and you can search Technique Tuesdays. I've got to probably release these on YouTube so they're easier for everybody to find.
But
I reference them a lot. I just use my paper towel to sort of dab back the excess paint.
You can find that info in the link in the description down below or on our website.
On our
TheArtSherpa.com.
website. Here's what I will do. The webpage, I'll just link it in. I'll link that video into the webpage somehow.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. Just so you guys aren't looking for it. So you can see these are very light, out of focus. shapes. You can see that the shapes are there, that they're doing a thing, but they're not really doing that much of a thing. Now I'm going to get some more of the magenta on here, and I'll grab some of my mixing in this particular case, tint. They need to stop naming their things different things. It makes me crazy.
You're going to call it all the things that it's not before you call it what it is.
I am. I'm feeling like this is a thing that's happening.
I do that.
So now I'm picking some brighter pinks. Look at that. And then as you pick the brighter pinks, these flowers will start to pop a bit because they've got brighter pinks, not just the maybe darker colors.
You know, there's a secret about bright pinks. If you pick them, they pick you back.
What goofy nonsense are you up to right now? Well, that's probably true. I'm just making I'm implying the flowers. When we put things in the background, we want to imply them.
No, I mean, seriously, think about it. Next time you see someone who's wearing bright pink, chances are there's a lot of pink. It attracts other pink. It's okay. It's a phenomenon.
There you go. Look at that. So now we painted some distant flowers that are going on, and that's all out of focus and in the background. So that'll be just beautiful for us. Let's put out some of our other colors. We've got some yellow ochre. I'm reserving probably my cad yellow for the peacocks. We'll see how that goes. Burnt umber. I do have burnt sienna. I think I'll put it out here just in case I need it, but it's like a backup. Nah, maybe burnt umber for right now because I've got so much of it out. Y'all, I have so much burnt umber out. I'm going to just let that be. There we go. Putting out a little black. I told you, not using a lot, but where we use it, we will use it. I'm going to take my yellow ochre into my burnt umber. Add a smidge of black to that. So it was the burnt umber, yellow ochre. Just trying to make sure I have enough for what I've got to do, is really all this is. I'm going to start to paint this tree trunk in, aren't I?
Yeah, you're using nice long strokes here.
Long, continuous strokes.
Now, you're using a long-handled brush.
Yes.
And I just saw you change your grip.
Yeah, you reminded me. Like, that's right, I am. I need to back up.
And so and posture is important, isn't it?
Hugely important. I'm going to add some more black into this. And if I need to, I'll get some of my Prussian, cooling it up.
Can you talk about your grips while you're doing that?
So when you are sitting at a table, you're going to paint a short-handled brush, and you're probably going to be holding it a little more like when you hold a pencil. If you're painting at an easel, you'll paint a long-handled brush, and you're supposed to actually hold it from the back so that you can see at a distance what the heck you're doing.
Gives you a little bit more
perspective.
And some of those long strokes then come from the shoulder, don't they?
And are less fatiguing to your body.
See, there's a stunt hands coaching the wife's shoulder to be a good sports shape.
Only because he knows this is a long painting today. He's afraid my shoulder's going to go out.
Well, just like any
a little
athlete,
bit.
I mean, like, you're painting for 2 hours at least a day, standing up.
At least, because there's designing time too. Like immediately after this, I got to design some more pieces.
So
I'm working on a new series with a new technique to share with you guys that I think you're going to find very exciting. But to do that, I got to work it out first before you ever see it. Now I'm going to get some of my titanium white into this. Look at that.
Yep. That's why you're going to hear me say, good posture, Sherpa? That's awesome.
We're just starting to shade and create the form that's going on in this particular tree. Come in. This is just the beginning, shading the form. Come over here and shade the form. of this tree branch. Now I'm going to change tactics here a little bit, guys. I'm going to take a brush while everything's a little bit wet. I'll probably just take a regular bright brush. And I'm going to come from the dark, making a curved stroke, and begin to shade or shape that tree. Just the start.
Just get some of that shape on there.
Get some of the shape on there. Now I'm going to come back. A lot more white on here because these trees are quite light, aren't they?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a complex layering action you have.
Maybe. Perhaps. Could be. Just trying to get the paint kind of applied and down.
This is getting that light side of the tree kind of shaped in, huh?
Kind of worked in, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this brush again, and I'm going to just do the opposite of what I just did.
Oh, yeah, and it blends it right over the other way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Starting to get it. Starting to shape it. We don't give up on this tree till this tree makes us happy.
There it is.
Bark is fun.
It seems challenging.
It's just, you just got to be kind of familiar with, be like, oh, we're barking it up right now.
Now, you've got a couple of different tree videos that if you needed to practice your
I'm going to get some of my just black. This is kind of a dark black value, and I'm mixing it into this, and I'm going to come here, darker than that. I'm going to get these two together.
Certainly, this is a birch-like tree. I think you got a couple of those. Maybe this is some sort of like, what is these? These are cherry blossoms?
I don't know, man. They make pink things.
Pink, small
they
flowered
do have
tree.
kind of a particular bark, and I'm trying to
make a shape similar kind of its barkishness.
That. We're just pulling that in. See how it's just getting rounded?
Yeah.
Now that's all dry brushing, isn't it? So my brush isn't very wet. The paint isn't particularly wet right now. So my brush can skip over the surface, leaving rough textural marks. That's helpful in the painting of objects. In the painting of objects, it is helpful. I might move this way. And then back into this white, into this mix, which now is quite light. Brush is still pretty dry. I get a little Indian yellow ochre in there. And I may come back in. Continue. To pull this color kind of through. Are you guys kind of liking this technique?
I like it. Yeah. Yes. The people are out here also saying, yes, this looks awesome.
Just kind of fun and easy to do.
And the layers really what make it pull off.
Yeah. Your tree has depth now.
It really does.
But we're still going to kick it up a notch.
Yeah?
Yep. This is just us getting in there. Getting that rough space worked out. Get a little of my, look at that, I got some of my yellow ochre in there. And I'm going to roughly put some of that a few places. What am I doing? I'm creating a Sense of the bark being multitonal, aren't I?
You are.
Look at our little tree here. It's just looking kind of awesome. Little tree-like. See. So this is really what 3-hoot lessons are about, is putting all those skills you've been acquiring in your 1 and 2 hoot lessons together into one composition, seeing how they all sort of help each other out. I have this feeling. I'm going to take my mister and miss my thing.
Whoa.
My present from my hubby.
Your little cutesy mister.
I missed my white a little bit more than I normally would. I'm put some on my, this is my splattering brush. I'm going to come really close on here. And I don't want to splatter elsewhere, which is why I'm close. I'm just going to add a little texture to this. Just feel like my little trunk needs some texture if I can do it. Not a thing you have to do by any means. I'm just texturing it up a bit. And I'm using a tool that gives me a lot of control about where my splatter goes. I've got a lot. Not a small amount, like a lot.
I love that little thing.
It's pretty cool.
It's so much fun.
I'm not, it's cool. Get a little of my dark color here. All right. And get that watered up. Just working it out, right? Different ways that we talk to the bark, that we say, oh, hey, you've got personality going. We got palette knives too. Lots we can do, and we're going to do lots because we want this to be beautiful. Let's do lots today. Now, if you get overspray when you do in painting splatter, you can always just come back, as long as your background is dry, with a damp brush and pick up any of the extra splatters. You know, and you can always come back with like a little bit of your Prussian and make sure that your tree has got nice edges where you need it. So just feel like you've got some control, okay?
Yeah.
Now, just enjoying myself, I'm kind of wanting to, yeah, maybe get into my black and brown a bit. Grab some of this and see what my palette knife gives me as well.
That's awesome.
Isn't that just amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Now I got a little bit over my tree, so I'm just going to come back with my damp brush and clean it up. Trick with your palette knife. See that bead there? So I scrape load it like this. You see the bead. If the bead is on this right side, then I can stroke left to right. That not some awesome looking tree? Look at that cool tree. We almost got to get back from that tree. Do you guys love it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do the same here.
And the critical thing is where you have the bead loaded.
It's really about where the bead is loaded. Some dark stuff here. Dark is also nice. Just have fun, you know, you're doing good. So like, a whole like big art quest just on bark, which was like an hour. We really got into our bark. See, I'm just scraping that off, creating that texture. So the splatters, the layers, the blending, they all come together and create this synergy. And I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna let John kind of let you guys see from a more zoomed out position how that texture looks. And also, it's a good time to go. You know, do I have too many patterns? Do I have too much going on, or is that boom? Yeah, what I was looking for. You know, and you don't want to back down till you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think.
So you can even come back now that you've got that in and, you know, maybe load your brush up with this very light color. And then balance that back into so it's a game, right? It's a playing against all the little variables that you could have going on. I'm loading back up. And I'm just making sure that we've got some kind of like crosshatch or like different directional palette knife line. Fun times. So don't get frustrated here. And then as you're doing it, be sure you step back because this kind of thing, when you're up on it, sometimes will look crazy. And then as you back up, we'll be like, what? That's amazing. All right, so feel like you've got that freedom. Now feel like you can take the knife and wiggle back and forth and rough it up. Bark it up. Look at that. So barked.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I could mess with bark all day, but I'm going to move on to other things because I have other things to do.
You could bark at that moon all day.
I could, and happily do so. I'm going to go ahead and maybe put out my yellow now. My Cad yellow.
I agree with Krista. I think these trees look awesome.
I'm pretty happy with them, too. I think that they have a really nice aspect, and they're going to let us really pull in some good flowers and some good elements of things. I'm going to go ahead and get my Cad yellow into my quinacridone. My quinacridone fuchsia in this case, but really it's magenta. Get my transparent white here. And I'm going to make sure that I've got in the background here a few little hot spots. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Again, we're still making rough shapes, but especially here where it's so pink, right? It's such a pink. You don't want to lose that pink. That was part of what attracted us to this composition in the first place.
Now you're kind of using a scrubbing stroke.
Wiggle.
Yeah.
Wiggle. I'm on the edge here, and I'm wiggling it. And then I come back and I soften it. So sometimes it's hard to see these things. So like an artist will go wiggle, and then come back over gently and soften it. You might not notice those little subtle movements, but they are happening. See how pink? Are we getting pink? I think we're picking up some of this little pink that's going on. And I'll just move around as I need to.
Yeah.
I need to get my pinks in. I'm not gonna.
And that's about making sure you have good posture and you're painting good.
Yeah.
your shoulder. Painting good.
Paint it good.
I use good grammar too.
Thank you. Solidarity grammar. Working hard. You guys can do this. You really, 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 really can.
Now, Cupcake was asking.
Hi, Cupcake. First of all, love your other name. All right, let me get back and look at this while we're answering Cupcake's question. She's not Cupquake. She's not Tiffy Quake. It's Cupcake. All right, go girl.
Don't palette knives use a lot more paint than a brush?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
No. Because actually, how much of your paint do you wash out in the jar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually scrapes quite a bunch up off the surface.
It does. You get all your paint used. I'm going to take a little of my green into my Cad yellow. And you can see this is just a much brighter color, isn't it? I'm going to add some pops of this back here.
So I guess the palette knife can often be more efficient than a brush.
In some sense, if you're not doing thick impasto, yeah, totally. Just a little bit of that here. Not everywhere, just a few pops, okay? Because you don't want to get crazy. Don't get crazy. You're just creating those senses of intense color and space and things and having fun. Are you having fun?
I'm
having fun.
What'd you just put out there?
I'm about to put out black. I haven't put out anything yet, but I'm going to put out black.
Got the black. I was watching you do something over there in the corner.
Something's happening. I'm doing something. All right. I'm going to take a little of my magenta and my brown and my black. It just kind of pinks it up, but still makes it dark. I could have probably done purple as well. And I'm going to make sure that I've got some distant implied lines that talk about branches far away of these pink trees. Once I have that, I'll feel like I did that pretty well, and I get to paint in my birds. Now, I'm going to take my Phthalo and my Prussian. I'm going to mix them together. I come off the back here. And his tail, while mildly visible, is in a very dark light, is it not?
Yeah.
So I can't have it really show.
The underfeather.
The underfeather. Kind of like the underminer. I'm bringing some shape and beginning to speak of value and what might be happening on our little birds. What you doing, Twix? Oh. No, oh, goodness. No, come here. Oh, you can't have that. You can't. Oh,
What'd
no.
you do?
Oh, no. Oh,
I don't know
no.
where you're at.
She is she's a scamp.
Where's she going?
She's scamping.
The
dog had musty sponge.
I couldn't even find you. I was like,
what? We're not playing. Hi. All right, everyone say hi.
She's so.
She wants her sea sponge. Wait, I only have like a few in the
She's so scruffly.
Scruffly. She's scruffly. They don't mind.
Scruffly dog.
All right, you go play. Go scamp it, Dad.
Scruffly dog day.
Scamp it, Dad. Scamp, scamp, scamp. I'm going to put out some more Prussian and some more Phthalo blue. Sometimes your pets will get into your art supplies.
Yes, they will.
So be careful what you have out. I got sea sponges. Probably not dangerous. Super fun to chew up. Very expensive chew toy.
You know what else? 6-year-old girls love to stick their fingers in those little holes.
Oh, that was just...
It's like they wear them like finger puppets and make the holes gigantic. Isn't that awesome?
It was something. I don't know, Mom would use the word awesome, but I use the word of something. So I'm creating this dark value down here. And then his little friend also is in very dark value. We're going to see them come to life once we start shading them, but we've got to get these rich undertones worked out.
Yeah. Got to get them in there.
Got to get them in there.
It's all about the layers, isn't it?
I may even put out my Dioxazine purple as another way to darken my values here. Yeah. Without deadening them with black. Deadening them. Cap is gone. Don't you get my cap. Don't you do it. She'll take my sea sponges, but not fetch my cap. So you can see I'm just adding that dark purple to even create a sense of it being darker. And
she missed the whole useful part of those tricks. I can do tricks.
Her usefulness is adorableness, and that's what I have to say about that. All right. So we have a couple places that we get dark color going on our peacocks. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, all right, like right here at the neck, there's often some dark color, and then at this spot of the neck, a little bit under the wing. And then around the side of him. On the toe of my brush, just trying to make a nice line. He would be in focus, right?
Yeah.
So to help him feel more focused, she's done with me. She went up front. I'm not fun. I'm not playing. All right. Now, interestingly enough, the trees and the bird legs are kind of similar. So brown and black, little yellow ochre, tons and tons of white. And I'm going to make sure it's wet enough to, actually paint anything. Just getting that first layer in, yo. First layer comes in. It's okay that the purple's getting in there because, again, we're just catching those values, aren't we? What we doing? We're just making sure
that the Sherpa is using good posture when
No,
painting.
stop. Shh. Painting here. Good times.
Making sure you use those long-handled brushes as intended. I'm not being an annoying husband at all.
It's okay. I love you. We'll let that have a little bit of a dry.
Yeah.
Now let's take our blue and our green, and we're going to mix them together equally. And you can get a little mixing white into it, and you'll start to see the color that it is. Look at that. So exciting. The colors of these birds are just... Who doesn't want to paint that? Right? Who doesn't want to paint that? Don't you want to paint him now? Even as it's just amazing color is revealed to you through the magic of transparent whites, which I'm going to put out a little more of. How are you guys doing? So take a deep breath. We are more than halfway through. We're about 2/3 of the way through. Everything in the painting starts to happen about here. If you need to get up and stretch. If you need to, move your body, move your body. If you need to pause. It's about an hour that I find most students can really handle at a sitting. So all of you guys that hang in longer than an hour, I am impressed. And if you don't, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, it normally takes a couple sessions to do this.
Yeah. My speeds are probably going to be a little bit faster.
You're using a flicking motion.
Yeah, I'm using the brush to soften these edges because I don't want like a hard edge.
Gotcha.
Right? I want the edge to be uneven and blended so that there's a nice transition on what's going on. Now I'm going to get a little of my green here, and I'm going to just start with the green to go on the back. I can always lighter, but if I have this nice green and it's beginning to show, there we go. Isn't that fun? And we'll lighten it and we'll do some fun stuff. But if we get the green going now, His face is going to become so like Skeksis in about a minute. Might add a little green there. Just talking about these undervalues of feathers, which are the most fun to paint outside of flowers.
Mm.
There we go. And that, there we go. And then a little bit of, got a little peak, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And we want to show that. Actually being brown, but I got to get his little kiss of green. Now, I am going to do a little bit of brown black on the back of the wing here. I may even add some blue into it. But what you'll notice is that there's this little pop of wing. That these wonderful birds have. There we go. Not really flying birds, so clearly it's decorative wing. I don't know, do peacocks fly? I think they actually can fly, can't they? Yeah, because they get up in trees and stuff. They fly like chickens fly.
I think they fly-ish. They're like...
They're not going to like keep up with an albatross and show up in the Galapagos.
Yeah, I don't think they can do
that would
extended
surprise
flight.
everybody in the Galapagos so much.
I think they might be able to flap up into low-hanging branches or on top of roofs.
I am going to grab some of my Diox and some of my Phthalo blue, and I'm going to make sure that my little legs have these little feather edges. See how we're doing? Just so they're nice and feathery edged. There we go. Just making sure those edges are there. Can't put them back later, so you got to put them in now. I'm going to go ahead and get one of my rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just generally paint the head a little bit of the Phthalo blue and Phthalo green. Fun stuff, isn't it? Just enjoy, you know, having these little lines. These little flow spaces that I get to run the brush stroke through. Super fun for me. Super fun, super fun. Are you guys having super fun?
I'm having fun.
Bringing this around here. If you get this painting done and you want to share it with me, come by the Facebook group, page, anywhere on social media. The TheArtSherpa is like all the normal places. We're not like on Musical.ly or anything, but we're like other. I think actually I might accidentally have an account there, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I am never gonna sing. Just wait. This is not the right place for me. Just coming along here and making sure his little face is in. Now, I'm going to take a little of my turquoise here that I has and my little white, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to begin talking about these hysterical little things. You can see I press the brush and pull just a little bit to create that brush. You see how I just create a little bit of that implication of feather. Grab a little more blue. It's dark for you guys to see, but you want to know that it's here. And then we're going to do his, which are kind of at a weird angle, but still there. So we got that. I'm going to grab a little of my black and my white, and I make some gray. And I'm going to put on my vision enhancer so I can see what I'm doing.
those little feathers are terrifying to a tiger.
Yes. We all need them. Clearly. Especially if we live anywhere near tigers.
If you're going to... I wonder if it would work against, like, mountain lions.
Well, see, there's no peacocks and mountain lions together, so clearly it didn't work.
We know the answer to this.
Sorry. We know we're being silly. All right, we're going to come around this eye too. So this is sort of this little gray space around an eye. Even before you get the markings in, even before you deal with any of that, it's going on. And that got a little bigger and out of the way for me. So what I can do is I can come back and clean it up if the background is dry. So you see me loading up the belly of the brush. You see me pull and spin, trying to make sure I've got lots of paint in there. She's still having a play. Are you hearing this? You probably are not, but
I hear the
panting.
Her
she was like, sure, it was like a keep away with the sponge. And she's back. So I'm just making the legs look a little bit like that little kind of weird hairiness that they have. They have like these little kind of pin feathers, and I'm just trying to make sure that the texture of that stroke is here.
You're painting very close to the easel there.
I am, because I need to see it.
Is it okay? You're using that small brush. That's like a number 4.
Yeah, and I'm using it a little bit differently than probably is intended, but you know what you're gonna do. So I'm grabbing my Prussian and a little bit of that mixing white, and I'm gonna come here and make sure that there's nice foreshortening on the belly.
And that's just so you can get the close, so you can see how those little tight brush strokes work.
Yeah. See how we created that foreshortening on the belly?
Oh yeah.
Putting that one leg. That puts them in their correct positioning, which will help everything so much. So much. So now fun can happen until I get back into the face where I must be very highly focused. So the wonderful thing, you know, we've got the black and the brown sort of feathers here, and there's this great bit of a curve to the stroke. May want even more black into this. Just making sure that I'm putting in that texture, because you need that little texture. See that curved texture?
Yes.
When I add little highlights in between these little curved strokes, it will help those feathers reveal themselves. And you want your feathers to reveal themselves. I think I will get my mixing white first, because this is not particularly bright. You having fun? Not trying to paint every feather. I'm just painting a sense of texture and space with the feathers. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Just slow and breathe and know where you're going. got some pure black, and I'm just refining that texture. These are curved little feathers that layer over each other. And get some nice fluid white. Not everything, just a few things.
Those really make those wings pop out.
Just a few. You don't want to do all of them. You just want to do some. Now I'm going to take a little of my nice little Indian yellow here and a little of my phthalo green. And I'm going to start to speak to this really fun feathering that's happening here. Just a little bit across the back and comes a little into this wing. There is also, just down at the belly, a little bit of green. You see that little highlight I'm making?
Yeah.
Not much. It's important though. Speaks to what we've got going on. A little bit under the wing. And then I'll go ahead and get some more green on here. Add some blue into it, but it's more green. And make sure that what's coming up off the back also works very well for the bird. A little bit of that light color here now. Just here at the top of his wing. Talk a little bit about that brown, but not much. I want it out of focus and far away. You want it out of focus and far away. More phthalo turquoise. More phthalo turquoise.
You're putting out a lot of paint today.
Today's, it's a lot of paint. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot to do.
When we get it done, we're going to be super proud of it, though.
I imagine so.
Let me get a little of my little turquoise here. Blending this sort of in. You can see it sort of disappears behind the neck. There's some foreshortening here. And then we're going to, I'm just taking this brush and I'm implying the feathers. Is that how we do? We're just implying, I'm not going to paint every feather. We're just implying the shape and form of the feather.
I like the way you're doing this.
Shape and form of the feather. Brush it up. Short strokes pulled in, layering on each other. Look down here and you've got this coming up. Short strokes pulled in, layering on each other. Best peacocks we've ever done, I think. We've done a lot of peacocks, but this is my favorite. Well, because it's a natural, more like landscape version of a peacock.
Yeah, that's true.
Not stylized. We're painting peacock today. What are we doing today? Paint peacocks. Getting a little more of my phthalo blue, and I'm going to come in here and make sure my little edges here have those interesting little outlines like they're wont to do. You can see I'm pulling these little strokes in for these little bits of the belly feather. Don't play. I like my peacock. He is a bluff bird. Enjoy him. Paint his beauty and his majesty and enjoy him in every way. Or something figures out he is not capable of defending himself and eats him. More mixing white, go I.
Yep.
More of this. So the specific one I'm using here today is tint white, but you could use golden zinc white. Anybody's zinc white, you could use mixing white. Any of those will be fine. Any. A little more into the green. I'm going to grab some of this. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to begin to talk about what's happening here. Just pulling that in, trying to keep that foreshortening on the bend of the neck where this is still dark. This begins to highlight. I start to pull that in.
You know,
And look, we're making the little feather strokes, but what are we doing again? We're just being chill. Putting them in.
you know what other animal put all of its bet in bluff?
Ooh.
Zebra.
That wasn't bluff. That was obfuscate.
No. I mean, they're a black and white horse.
That's
in the desert.
because stuff be colorblind, sweetheart. It just helps them
I know,
hide.
But still, it's like
It didn't
that's
work with
confidence.
humans. They were planning for a different problem.
There was some confidence there. Like, no, I got this. I'm just black and white. That's all I need.
So I'm blending the blue, the phthalo blue, in through this mix, and you can see it's starting to bring him into bear.
Pandas. They did not bluff.
I think pandas are dangerous, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That whole black and white thing, they're like,
That was
warning.
a warning.
Yeah, that was legit.
Things you've learned about at the Sherpa about animals.
Like the lionfish. Not
That
bluff.
bluffing. No. That's a nature's way to say, don't touch me. You
See,
won't like it.
That's why the tiger's just kind of little leery of that peacock. It's like, I don't know. It might just
Other
eat me.
colorful stuff made me sick to my tummy. Here we go. I'm just still going. Still working. Are you guys liking this? You guys don't mind the more involved little landscape painting, I hope. Blending this down in. You can see I'm softly blending. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to make sure that those lines don't have hard edges. Brush it back and forth. Light pressure. Being chill. Highlighting here. Highlighting here. Highlighting here. We're looking for where the light is. Blue and green, making the turquoise, and coming here and, just enjoying those little blends.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not done. You think no, we're just getting in there. So I'm going to take a little of my green. I'm going to need some more of my green.
Get more green. Just put it in there.
Just going to put it down. I'm just going to get into it. All right. I'm going to get some of my, well, we could do Indian yellow, but I actually think Cad maybe. Let's mix some Cad into it. Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, making the little pop feathers
Yeah, just a little bit.
as they glint in the sunlight.
Because they do, right?
They do.
When they do. Making little marks there.
Someday I hope to get some photographs of myself. Just,
Well, we'd love to go to India. See them in the wild.
Oh my gosh, that would be.
I also
amazing.
would like a peacock suit because India also has tigers.
Can I just wear one on my head?
That would be like the last American they would want to deal with. Because I'd be like, can I have my tiger suit, please?
I want a peacock hat.
It's
It's a top hat with
They're going to
lots
be
of
like,
feathers.
you don't understand how tigers work. You're confused
They're
about
like,
nature.
you're an hors d'oeuvre now.
But if you want to wear the hat, I was going to get home to my kids today anyway.
You just made that tiger an amuse-bouche.
It's the wrong reason to get famous as a YouTuber. I'm going to take a little of this bright green.
speaking of tigers, you're using a cat's tongue, right?
I am using a cat's tongue.
Da-da-da.
Done. You could use a filbert.
Which is
Just,
what?
it doesn't have a point. Use a filbert.
But
If you want to know more about filberts, you can watch my video. Filberts.
You can watch one of our other videos on brushes.
We have so many.
We have a couple. There's a couple out there.
I'm going to get some of my mixing white into this. Just create some really bright highlights. Not everything, but I want some of these to be just a little bit highlighted because they are. Yeah, I'm adding those little highlighted feathers there. Isn't that great? Got those little kisses of feathers there. They're still real dark, and we've got to lighten them up quite a bit. So we're going to take our blue and our green. That makes our turquoise. And where we've been in the mixing white, we're going to get into some power white now. Dip my brush in my water. And just making applying those little feathers. Need more color? Get more color. Don't be worried about it. Follow the flow of the bird's feathers. Darker back here, getting lighter at the pop of the neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, you're just doing. Want more blue in it, you get more blue in it. Look at that. You can always grab phthalo blue. It will never steer you wrong on your peacock. Isn't that lovely? Coming up towards the head. And maybe I will move my surface like this so I can keep continuing my nice little stroke here. Layering my little strokes. Pure blue. Having some fun.
The layers of feathers are amazing.
I love doing it. It's fun to me. Hopefully it is fun for you as well.
Now, if you'll check in the link in the description down below, you'll find videos on how to do the traceables, do the different gridding methods, all of those things. Those are all on our website, and you can just find them very easily by searching our videos on the website. There's all sorts of really good stuff out there for you to find.
Oh, these guys are looking good.
She just disappeared, so I was like, "Where'd Sherpa
No,
go?"
I'm just like, so
She went looked to.
you got to back up every once in a while.
You did.
Every once in a while, you got to back up and take it all in again. You know, you gotta assess. You got to think: is this working? Do I like this? I'm gonna take a little of this green and some of this yellow. Into my blue and my mixing white. Just keep working our values till we nail it, right? Right in there. Play, 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 play. Yep. Better. So I'm making sure that he can show easily, and just stay low. I'm making sure he can show. He needs to be able to show. Mixing a light blue. Making small, fast, furtive little strokes. Rinsing out. Phthalo turquoise, but a lot of mixing white. Not enough. Gonna have to be titanium. Making little reflection marks. And we'll come back with an even harder one, but this is the beginning of it. Yeah, we're just touching these little feathers.
Mm-hmm.
That. And back up. Starting to get a little reflection going. Shade the peacock. Don't give the peacock shade, shade the peacock. All right, rinsing out. I'm going to get some Prussian and some Phthalo blue. Just make sure that we've got nice shading. Look at that, coming up from the base. Now it's all shapy and shady, isn't it?
Yeah.
He nice. Wonderful. A little more cad yellow and a lot more mixing white. Even brighter, I think, right here. Okay, some yellow. Tapping here. Maybe a couple marks there where it's just you can see the bright yellow feathers that are in there. Yep. That is very good. He is looking good. He is happy with me. I don't know if he really is. I'm going to get some more yellow. But just similar thing here. I'm going to just give some highlights of what could be there. And I'm really going to get into this little peacock next door. You see me mixing my turquoise again, and we'll start to drill into what he's got going on. And he's got some stuff going on too. Don't leave him out. He's just as fabulous as his friend. Just because he didn't have to jump in front of the camera and be a whole thing doesn't mean he's not just as amazing in every way. Don't question it. So just grabbing some of that little phthalo blue and making sure that these little marks are okay. Isn't he jumping out now and being gorgeous? Guess what color I need more of?
What's that?
Phthalo blue. What have you learned about peacocks? A lot of phthalo blue. No more of that, just pure phthalo. That's always a pop, isn't it? When you manage to get that pure phthalo involved. I'm having fun, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking good, looking good, looking
these
good.
birds are coming in, man.
Don't you think they are a little bit? Maybe a little yellow ochre and a little white. Making sure his little background is standing out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can see him in the dark. Mixing white into that. Just want to make sure that he is got a nice value compared to the background. I'm taking my Phthalo green. I'm just making sure that he's going to stand out as well. They stand out from each other too, a little bit, right? I've got just that phthalo green, a little bit of blue, and my mixing white. Now I'll take little strokes, and I'll just brush that in, pulling him forward. Bring it down the neck maybe a little bit. Again, blend through. So that's got more of that aqua feel to it, which he does. He has a little more of a green feel. I don't know if you noticed, but he's got a little more of a green feel.
Mm-hmm.
A little mixing white into that. I'm going to add some nice, lovely little featherish marks. And you can see why right now I like these transparent whites. Gives a special effect, doesn't it? A lot more mixing white. Starting to show these little feather reflections, as you do. A little more yellow on there. A little more reflections here. They can come down a little bit here, little kisses. You can see how I just used the brush to kiss it. And I get a little more focus. Backing up. So right here, I've got a highlight I need to knock back. And I can just go right into my phthalo blue to do it. And that's what's sort of wonderful about all of this. Now, I know I've got some little white markings to do, and that's going to do a lot for him to show up. But I'm just starting to get this value and nonsense down for him. A little more phthalo blue on here, and I'm going to come do the same here. So I'm not being what's called precious. I'm not too worried about each of those little detail bits. That's not where my concern is. I'm going to get into my round brush now. And it's going to get real. So everything up here I'm pretty much going to work on my phthalo blue for the most part. I'll use my brush to make sure that the feather strokes are good matches, and if I need a little dog's purple and a little Prussian to create some shadows, I've got that here, right? So I can easily add that right there. So easily. And a little bit of that dark mix there. Some of it here. Got a little bit happening at the beak. Doing well. I'm going to go ahead and take what black I have and start to think about what's in here. Get my vision enhancers on, for goodness sakes. And before you feel bad for me, no, I did this on purpose. Like, I looked at this image for a long time and said, what do I want to do with a Saturday in my future? Paint the peacocks. Isn't that nice? So we're starting to see that come in. Now load up on your brush with blue. I'm going to get some white into it because we got to make some lighter feathers. I tap this down and you see the brush is just making some lighter feathers, as the brushes want to do. Lighter feathers. Just tap it there and make sure you've just got lighter feathers up top. These lighter feathers are much more facing forward. Fun stuff. So I'm checking to see if that's titanium, which I think it is. I'm also getting myself some new paper towels. Maybe some new green. New mixing white.
Gotta get some clean paint out, huh?
Well, somewhere, if I can find it. You ever been in this stage of your palette where you're like, man, I need a spot?
Well, I can't say that I have.
No, you haven't.
Although, you have some clean spots up in the upper left-hand corner there. You could
I do.
spin it. Or
I
you could
should
get a new one.
Should probably get into that, and then I keep forgetting.
Get a new one.
Taking this green and yellow right here. Kissing a couple of these like little colors. Isn't that great? Doesn't that do a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I mixed the coolest color and then I lost it. Here it is. Where's the cool color? Oh, the yellow into it. Now, let's come into here and get some real nice featherage going. A little yellow. A little blue. Because it's got a bright turquoise it's rocking. Maybe I need my titanium white. Look at me looking for color. Blue. Where is it? All right. Some Just Phthalo for back here. Do some more Just Phthalo. Grab some of my bright colors for the up front. Do that. And some real bright to highlight part of it. See how we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Need to do all of it. Little blue on here. Now, let's work out the beaks, work out the tops, get the eyes in, and then we can do the little white markings and a couple reflections.
Okay.
So the beak, I'm going to just work brown and black together and my white. This is basically a gray. And make sure that this is painted well. I may need some fresh water, babe. My water is so dirty.
I'll get that.
Don't have a third cup.
I'll get that for you while you're working. I'll
I
leave you on the
appreciate it.
close-up screen.
Okay, gonna do the close-up screen. Just one fresh cup would be amazing. I'm getting white. Adding white to it. Highlight a little bit. Work around the eyes, perhaps. And actually, I may just wait till John gets back. So let's talk about some things. So some goals I have is I want the background and the birds to feel separate from each other. So that's really about value, making sure they're light enough to come up from the background. These forward flowers are going to be super bright and light on twigs, quite defined, which is going to make all of this sort of backwards flowers feel much more done and real. I did. I'm disappearing Sherpa. I'm putting a little more Indian yellow. Put it over by my brown because I'm going to be doing the eyes, and I'm going to get my reference closer so I can see what I'm doing, because there's nothing harder for me than to look across the room and try to see it. All right, so that's the skin. I pulled the skin off my brown paint. That's what you see me doing. I'm going to get some of my Indian yellow and come inside here and begin to paint that particular eye color. We'll exaggerate those things. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit of the Indian yellow into the mixing white. The back of that eye. Maybe a smidge the front. Back and under. Thinking about my bake, getting a lot more white on there. Highlight on the front. I've got to reshape his little beak here. I'm going to take my background color. My thing just came off. What happens is my earphone gets tight and then it comes off. So if I disappear on sound, that's what it is.
No, you've been pretty good so far.
Okay, cool.
This is really, really pretty.
And that's, you know, we're just making our thing. We're just going, all right, so here we are. There we go. Take a little of my black, a little of my white. That makes a nice kind of gray there. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about what's going on. White, white, white. There's the good white. So I think that's starting to think about our background in a different way. I'll put my white somewhere over here closer to me. As John's pointed out, I've got a lot of room right there. And I also have a lot of room for
What are you looking for?
my black. Did I drop a whole tube? Oh, it's flipped over. Everybody's still here with us? You still have stamina?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, everyone's loving this paint.
She's quite a pretty painting, isn't she?
Yeah.
I'm touching the brush. I'm not doing a single stroke. I am exaggerating because I want to enforce the idea that what I've got is feathers.
Hmm.
I'm going to come under the eye here. There you go, starting to have the eye markings.
Yeah. The eyes are where the magic are at.
Eyes are always where the magic is at, man. So cool.
Now, what brush are you using there?
I'm still on my number 4 round. Now I'm going to take some water and my black and my white. And I am going to make a very, very, very light. I don't want it to be like white. It's going to be like kind of like an off gray. And I'm going to make sure that I...
Oh, the little feather shakers.
Couple of things. I'm going to grab some of my blue here. Make sure I soften what's happening up there. I'm going to grab blue again. And just make sure that they don't go into the feathers weird. And then I'm also going to make sure a little bit of the bird's head. See? They're blended there.
Mm.
Doing good, doing good, doing good. Get another little highlight. More white paint here. Too much white paint. Make sure that we are... These need to be noticeably white markings because on the bird, they are. Now, for sheer detail, I've got to get into my number 1 detail brush. First, I'm going to get some black. Try to stay out of John's way while I do this work.
Oh, you're doing great.
I don't mean in a bad way, babe. I mean just out of the camera.
I mean, you've been doing great. I've got a lot of great views. Yours are a really, really small brush there.
Yeah, and it's important to have access to a really, really small brush. And I just want to say, I know it. All my birds look judgy.
I don't know that they look judgy.
Always look a little judgy. Disgruntled. They're always like, hey. I'm going to use my zinc white first. For the reflection, and then I'm going to get my titanium white on the tip. Again, sometimes I use my finger as like a little portable palette and make a hot spot center on that reflection on the eye. Okay, guys, I think we're good there.
Yeah?
Step back and assess. Oh, I got to do a
Assess.
high reflection on those birds so they really pop. So the last little touchy touch thing that I might want to do is I might want to grab, and I will do it with my cat stone. I'm going to get some of my titanium white. I'm going to make a few little high shine reflections. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Saying, oh, there's so much light, just hit them right there that these were super reflective. You know, and I gotta just make sure that they're look like feathers and stuff. Yay! Guess what time it is?
Is it signature time?
No! You see all these cherry blossoms? You
I didn't
wish
think so.
signature time.
I was like, you're
you
just
wish.
spooking me here.
You wish, you wish, you wish.
That's like, you're like, what time is it? Like, really?
No,
Is it that time?
It's not signature time.
Okay, I didn't think so.
It's put out some more
I was worried.
magenta because it's been a minute time, and maybe some more yellow. I'll put them all over here. The last bit of clean palette in the house. I think it's interesting that the branches are pink.
Yeah?
Yeah, just thought that was fascinating. I'm going to come up over the top. Maybe I'm going to get a little white into this so we can see what it is. There you go. Up over the top. There we go. Get a little branch on here. You need more water to improve flow. Get more water, whatever you got to do. Might make that more than one flower. Here I go again. A little kind of cross one down here. And then, of course, in front of our beautiful, beautiful pear, comes that. And then there's going to be a little one there. So we get that going like you do. Adding a little more white to it so it just is lighter. Might even get some yellow into it just so it's very noticeable. Couple places. Going to highlight. Not every place, but I am going to highlight each of these little twiggly bits a couple of places. Quinn. All right. Let's see if there's any Quinn there. Nope, none. All here. I come right here. I get a little of my yellow into it. And I may grab just a smidge of my white to begin with, but not too much because I need a dark color and I'm going to need more Quin than that. How much Quin? Way more Quin. Because we're painting a bunch of flowers, aren't we?
I don't know. It seems that we are.
Yes, we will. And I may put some fresh purple out just so I have a value to shade with. There we go. That's enough. So, and I may change brushes.
Yeah?
Yeah. We'll see how this does my little brush strokes. If it's wonderful and easy, then I'll keep it. If it gives me any grief at all, it's gonna go.
No grief.
No grief. That is never allowed. I don't need no grief. To have the strength that we were attracted to in the reference photo, we've got to get a lot of pink on here. Just is going to be necessary. Super duper necessary.
Where are you going?
I'm just moving around. I'm sorry, babe.
No, that's okay. I'm just tracking you.
Right here at the branch, maybe. Dipping in water, just making sure that I've got a little yellow to it so it's warm. Now, I could have put these guys out of focus too, but I felt like for the purposes of pulling the foreground forward, what I was really, really going to like deeply was these to be bright in focus, sharp edge flowers. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm taking care of that the way it needs to be taken care of. Already we're getting some nice pink going here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Exaggerate, exaggerate, exaggerate. I'm going to come right here since I'm over in this direction anyways. And try to make sure that this branch seems more forward. There we go. Just a little more white on these. Catching that forward facing cherry blossom. How are you guys liking the painting so far?
Loving it. These birds are amazing. And the little flowers are just coming right on in.
They do. And I know you guys find frustration with flowers. But again, try not to think of them as flowers. Think of them as weird little blobby shape. Just change your mindset. Go weird little blobby shape goes here, here, and here.
Yeah.
Just trying to make things more comfortable for my body.
Well, that's important. You got to make sure you watch your posture.
Yeah, and if I find like in an effort to get an angle on a brushstroke, my posture's all going to craziness, I will absolutely like change body position.
Disappearing Sherpa.
So this is the last stretch of what we're dealing with on the painting. Once we get our flowers in, we're all done.
Ooh.
If you were feeling fatigued and wondering if you could make it, you can.
I think we'll make it. This is pretty good. This is a nice Sunday afternoon painting.
Except it's Saturday.
Or Saturday.
Sunday's painting. Tomorrow is much easier.
Tomorrow's at 3, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the galaxy tree. And it's sponges and splatters and that kind of fun stuff. So if you ever like that kind of fun painting, it's like a great time to show up for that. And
you're just touching in some of those.
I'm just trying to make sure that this stuff feels full and...
You're not strictly following the...
No, I never strictly follow. Don't strictly follow.
You're emotionally following the reference.
I am designing.
Yes, designing. That's what I'm going to agree with my wife on.
And I've lost another cap. They're just falling down.
Cap down. Cap
It's like
away.
2 caps down in this whole lesson. It's just
That's
not
okay.
good, man.
We'll find some more. They're there.
Now, I may switch to my round just to see if that gives me a little different kind of control and layering. I'm going to load up with some white. Right. Get a little yellow on there and some pink.
I scared everybody when I said it was Sunday. They were like, wait, what? Sorry, guys.
This is my number 4 round.
That's you were using that quite a bit. I'm going to zoom in on it because this little brush stroke that you've got going on over here.
Go press and pull. It's like a little comma.
Let me get that in center. There we go.
I'm going to go right here if that'll help.
Yeah.
I'll stay here till you've captured it. So
Okay.
I press down and I pull. Right, so it's a press and pull, and it kind of creates a little teardrop comma shape.
Yeah.
Got a little yellow and white in there when I need to. I pull often into the paint, so I'm constantly changing the loads. And I add extra depth.
What does that mean?
So I'm trying to make sure that there's a lot of different textures and marks and values throughout these flowers. So like if we look at this and I get back, you can kind of see how they start to come forward. They start to really pull brightly. And hopefully that play of color and brushstroke size. So see, some of these are smaller.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go bigger.
That variation really does help.
It does, because that's what flowers do, right? They vary. We're just trying to say there's these gorgeous, beautiful, surrounding blooms. I mean, why did we paint this painting? Because the peacocks and the pink flowers. It's the whole reason. There wasn't another reason. So if there's a reason that you pick a painting, pick a design, pick a photograph, lean in to what attracted you to that reference. If there was a color in the sunset, if there was just anything about that, you want to lean into it. So if for us, what was so attractive was the combination of these peacocks and those pink flowers. Man, this painting better be about those two things. Otherwise, the cake is a lie.
I get it.
Cyan. We do what we must because we can.
Oh, it's coming in there nicely. Except the ones who incite a content ID strike for singing on YouTube.
Let me tell you something I know. I don't sing well enough to get a content ID strike.
But it's good. It's fun to think that we might.
I don't want to be content ID striked. I'm really starting. YouTube's gotten to be a little bit hostile. Sometimes it's scary.
But it is funny to joke that you might sing and the algorithm could get
now, you know who could sing and get a content ID strike? Jazza.
Well,
but not me.
He has multiple skills.
He's one of those triple threats. He's a triple threat. I'm not a triple threat. I am threatening. Does that help? I threaten others.
Where'd you go anyway?
How do you like them apples, Debbie Allen? All right, so I'm going to turn the painting. We're so far into the flowers, it got weird.
All right.
Every mistake, till we run out of cake.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's starting to be lovely, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see why having the white and the pink and the yellow here to dip into and change up values is very, very important. We are on the home stretch, guys.
Oh, it's looking so cool.
Can you feel it? It's almost over. On the ground. Well, it must have been love, but it's over now. Oh!
Sherpa sings us out.
How?
I didn't expect that would be the...
You know, if you get me out here, so what it is, and those who've been with us for a long time, who know my teaching buzz, know that if you get me tired enough, it get weird.
Well.
It's true. It gets real crazy at the end of a 5-hour paint.
Yeah.
Who knows the things I'll say? I lose all my filters at the end of 5 hours. It's all about the ones we love.
Everybody loves it when you get all singy.
Well, what are we going to do, right? We just paint and we sing and we listen to the ArtSherpa Retreat. That's our second YouTube channel where we play music all day. It's not like great yet, but it's pretty good.
We're working on it.
We're trying.
It's like an experimental hangout place.
It is. It's a safe place to chat. We got lots of our favorite mods are in there, and you know, you've got lots to do, and there's just chill music. We change it up throughout the day mostly. There's some videos of either me painting or flowers or something.
Stuff.
Calming.
It's an evolving place.
It's an evolving place. We just found new software. Look out.
Next month, I'm probably going to do more on it. I'm kind of...
Okay, I'm really liking this. I'm feeling good. I feel like I can finish the last sprig.
The last sprig?
Which is like the last sprint. All right, wait, let's take a second. I'm going to pop my kombucha, and I'm going to let my mental space clear, because I don't want to get so, like, fogged into finishing that I missed something important. And also I got, oh, it's looking good.
We're at the 2 hour and 20-minute mark. It's pretty good. We're
It's
doing
not
pretty
bad
good for
for
two
what we're
birds.
doing. Where it's really about you getting it done. So I don't mind them being like at the 2 hour 20.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's only like right now, an average of 1 hour and 11 minutes per bird.
What? You're stressing me out, dude. What?
Why is that stressful? That's pretty good.
I didn't
A
feel
bird
like I
an
had to
hour?
answer for any time.
No, I'm just saying, like, if I painted it one bird per hour, I'd be happy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, got my little glass.
Is that
Glasses.
is birds per hour our
Oh, that's
rate
not a
of
pretty face. Why did I make that face?
just gonna just have a moment with the camera. We're gonna leave Cinnamon alone with the camera, and she's gonna make some faces for a while. We thought we were gonna paint today, but nope, just making
That's why I
faces.
don't bother with Botox, besides
This
my
is-
complete fear of bovine toxin.
So
They're like, we're going to give anthrax to your face and it'll stop making expressions. I'm like, yeah, that's not surprising.
remember that kid in the back of the class in high school that was just making faces? That's
Your wife?
Yep.
I'm going to load my brush up with lots of yummy little paints, buddy, and then I'm going to come paint some flowers now that that's my wife.
I love you. I wouldn't have any other wife.
No, I wouldn't have any other one either. You're my favorite.
Now, which brush are you using there? Same
So
one?
that number 4.
That same little number 4.
Little number 4. Knew it could do the job. Little number 4.
I think it may be coffee time again.
It might be coffee time
Again.
again.
Only because you can feel the coffee waning in your system.
Those of you coming to our certification, don't worry, it won't be this.
Oh.
Don't unregister. It'll be funner and simpler, I promise.
This has been pretty cool. I've been enjoying it.
This is good to know how to do.
You know what my favorite part of this is?
Hmm.
I get this painting and I don't have to paint it.
I think Spider gets all Peacock paintings. Isn't that the
Well,
rule?
that's true. They do all hang in there.
Because he likes the Peacock.
He does. I don't mind that. I just like seeing him on the wall. I would like to see your paintings too. So if you guys paint, please post it up. I would like to see. I love seeing everybody's paintings.
I don't do too many three hoots in a month because then we never see anybody's paintings because they're busy painting them.
What? Oh, there goes. It jumped.
It didn't like what I had to say and it tried to leave me, but I captured it again. You guys like how those little brush strokes are making these little focused flowers happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really amazing.
And this is why I'm the Sherpa. Late enough in the day for me to talk smack to no one at all. Just loving every minute of this, right? This has just worked out as intended. You gotta love when a painting comes together. Kind of like when a plane comes together for the A team.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot now. Like, watch through the eyes of modern stuff. That is a very scary show. Things that were okay in the 80s, but not cool now. Maybe that was the 70s. Maybe it was the 80s, right? Hard for me to know because I love reruns.
Oh, yeah.
Are we coming to the end, my friends?
Oh, my gosh.
The end is near. And as I close that final curtain, I did it my way. Don't get me for Sinatra, because that would just be rude to Sinatra. All right, guys. Time to assess. Look at my hands, okay? Is that like...
You have got some
all right,
painted hands.
Back, I'm going to look and assess.
Oh,
John will assess you guys.
I'll assess that one. Ooh,
yeah.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's the deal, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're happy with your result and you haven't lost your detail brush.
You have not.
You have not.
Have not lost. So good. So very good.
I like it. I like it. Making a nice little blue. Think I will sign here by the trunk.
By the trunk. Oh, that turned out so good.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Getting jiggy with it.
I think that turned out really nice.
Oh, it's gonna need Don't leave your brushes out to dry. I gotta go rescue that brush.
I'm gonna rescue that one after the show.
Yeah. All right.
All right. There you go.
One of the things. Let's get this reference out of the way because it's no longer as wonderful as this painting.
Don't need that reference.
So 30 by 40 of this would just be bam in your home. I mean, showpiece, showstopper. If you ever want to go big, just paint it a couple times as practice, then get the big canvas, and if you can do math, size up the grid. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Your time is valuable. We know you have a lot of places that you could spend it. Thank you for trusting John and I to guide you through this painting. I want you to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I'll see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.